Hi, first graders. We're back today with Pinky and Rex and the new neighbor. And I'm going to read chapter 3 to you called Ollie. Remember, Mrs. Morgan is moving to a senior home, right? So her house is for sale. And who's Ollie? I don't know. Let's find out. For days, Pinky and Rex kept an eye out for the man in the van. He was the one selling Mrs. Morgan's house. When his big gray van pulled up to the curb in front, they hid behind the bush in Rex's yard so they could see who got out. So far, there had been an older couple with no children, a young couple with 2 children, a woman with a teenager, and a man with a briefcase. And then one day, Ollie and his parents came. So boys and girls, the man in the van brings the families to see the house, to see if they like it, right? Ollie was 7. He spotted the 2 children behind the bush at once. While his parents looked at the house, Ollie stayed outside and told Pinky and Rex all about himself. He had a cat named Sphinx and a dog named Charlene. His father was a pilot and his mother wrote television commercials. He had been riding a 2-wheeler bike without training wheels since he was 4. He had been reading since he was 3. He could beat his father at chess. He was allowed to see any movie he wanted. He bet he got a bigger allowance than they did. Here's Ollie talking to Pinky and Rex. He was interrupted when his mother called out, "Ollie, come and look at the room that will be yours." As the boy disappeared into Mrs. Morgan's house, Rex looked at Pinky in horror. "He's going to be my new neighbor? He's the most obnoxious kid I've ever met," Pinky said. Obnoxious is kind of like stuck up. He's bragging a lot. I have a bigger allowance. I know how to do this. I know how to do that, right? Then, feeling bad, Pinky added, "But maybe he'll get better once we get to know him." Mrs. Morgan's upstairs window must have been open. Either that or Ollie had a very loud voice. Pinky and Rex heard him scream, "I hate this room! Why can't I have the big room? You never let me have what I want. If I can't have the big room, I'm not moving." "Or maybe you'll get worse," Rex said. Pinky and Rex looked at each other. They couldn't believe this was happening. Chapter 4 is called A Teddy Bear and a Trophy. Not fair. Not fair, Pinky's little sister Amanda said for the 5th time that morning. Pinky ignored her as he headed towards the front door. Amanda followed fast on his heels. "Well, it's not fair that the big kid is moving in," she said. "You already have Wax to play with. I don't have anybody." Pinky turned around so fast that Amanda bumped into him. "We'll let you play with Ollie, okay?" he said. "But he's a boy and he's 7, protested Amanda. Pinky shrugged. "I'm just trying to be fair," he said. "Right," said Amanda. "You already told me you and Rex don't want to play with him, so why should I?" Pinky shrugged again and he pushed open the door. "That's life," he called over his shoulder like, "Bye, that's life." Amanda stood fuming, her hand holding the screen door wide open. "Well, life's not fair," she shouted after Pinky. Close the door, Amanda," her father called. "Not fair," Pinky heard Amanda cry again as she slammed the door shut. Pinky chuckled to himself as he crossed the street. But then he thought, it really isn't fair. He and Rex were best friends. They did everything together. Now there was going to be a boy their age who was going to live right next door to Rex, a boy they didn't even like. He'd want to play with them, and they would have to let him. Things were never going to be the same again. Pinky found Rex in Mrs. Morgan's house. Boxes were everywhere. I'm helping Mrs. Morgan pack, Rex explained. I had no idea I had so much stuff, Mrs. Morgan said, coming in from another room. Thank goodness the movers will be here tomorrow to pack most of it. Oh, she said suddenly, remembering the old teddy bear she was holding. This is William, she said. He was mine when I was a child. Isn't it funny, Pinky? His name is the same as yours. Your real name, I mean. If you'd like to have him. And she thrust the bear into Pinky's hands. Thank you, Pinky said, surprised. I'll take good care of him. I know you will, Mrs. Morgan said. That's why I'm giving him to you. Then she turned to Rex and said, there's something in the cellar that I want you to have, but it's much too heavy for me to carry. Pinky and Rex followed Mrs. Morgan down the stairs. It's a trophy my father won. I know you like sports, so I thought perhaps you'd want it. My poor father didn't have any sons, and I never had the least interest in sports, and I never had any children. So, would you like it? Oh yes, Rex said. It's the biggest trophy I've ever seen. Thanks, Mrs. Morgan. Wow, it is quite big, right? You're very welcome. And they carry the trophy upstairs. Mrs. Morgan invited them to join her for cookies. She apologized that today they were store-bought cookies, but she explained she had not had the time to bake. You'll just have to visit me, she said. As he took a bite of his cookie, Pinky thought that Mrs. Morgan had said they must come visit her as many times that morning as Amanda had said, not fair. At least, Mrs. Morgan said as she opened the refrigerator to get some milk, you will have some very nice neighbors. I'm so happy that the house was sold to such a lovely family. Pinky and Rex looked at each other and rolled their eyes. Bye, kids. We'll continue another day with chapter 5.